teaching significance, all right? Teaching the significance of having violent hands, okay? Now, it's not natural, okay, for us as human beings to walk around, all right, and put our hands on people in a violent fashion, okay? So for some people, all right, it's more natural than others, all right? But at the end of the day, this has to be a taught and trained trait. When many freshmen come in, whether it be high school freshmen or college freshmen, the first thing that we look to be able to teach is, right, the significance of having violent hands and being able to show that you can control an offensive lineman with the two things, all right, that the great God has given you above to be able to do so, okay? So the first thing that we want to be able to do is we want to be able to have a hardening process. And I'm going to talk through that a little bit, okay? When we first get guys, all right, that play defensive line, and I get them up on campus, and as soon as they're cleared to work out, the first thing that we're able to do is we're able to do non-contact drills. So we can do drill work when it comes to anything that we can do in the weight room or anything that we'd be able to do just from a speed and movement perspective. What I'll tell guys to do is, hey, go off on your own. If you're looking for drills, because a lot of times guys will ask me, what drills can I do? What drills shouldn't I do? I tell them get right into wall strikes, okay? And normally I can't watch them during that phase, okay? But they'll call me after, hey, coach, listen, I got in 100 wall strikes today. Great, do 200. 200 wall strikes. A lot of them look at me like I'm crazy. But what I'm really doing is, and what I'm really teaching and propelling is, I'm teaching the hardening process. You've got to get used to being able to use these hands as violent weapons. So when we talk about the strike and we talk about the uses of violent hands, we always talk about going from palms to pecs, okay? From palms to pecs. If I was looking to go ahead and I was looking to break somebody's nose from a martial arts perspective, I wouldn't go like this to break somebody's nose. I would fire off from my hip and I would come right here to break somebody's nose. All I'm doing right here to increase my surface value is extend the tips of my fingers, okay? When I strike and I make contact, all right, with the offensive lineman, I want to go ahead and I want to flex my pecs and bring my thumbs in because this will give me the control that I need to be able to go from primary to secondary or from primary to primary, stay there, disengage, finish, and be able to go and make the play, all right? So the hardening process will start from a foundational knowledge of being able to put your hands on a wall. And when I talk to my guys, I tell them go from 6-point strikes to 2-point strikes to 3-point strikes, all against the wall before they even hit the sled. Why? I'm telling them to go break the wall. Go break it, knowing that they have no chance in heck to be able to go ahead and break this daggone wall. As they go ahead and they work through it, striking, putting their hands on the wall, bow, you start to hear that noise. Bow, bow, bow. You can see it being built. You can see the repetition being done. And then you take them to the sled. All right? But you always start off on the wall. Very old-fashioned, all right? If you don't have a wall, okay, or an indoor facility or a mat that you could put on the wall, you can go against the goalposts. Same exact hardening process is being done, but you're teaching guys how to callus their hands and how to be able to work against a very solid surface because offensive linemen are not flimsy. Their chests are not weakened, okay? They're very thick and they're very calloused body types. So being able to teach your guys how to work against these thick and calloused body types with something that's even more dense is something that'll be able to help them along the way. Next, I call this the sharpening process, right? Iron sharpens iron, okay? The same exact thing that we just talked about with the hardening process is being able to teach callus. Now we're going to be able to talk about sharpening. So we want to be able to have violent hands, but we want to have detailed and accurate hand placement, all right? I always tell my guys, you want to go ahead and aim for the tip of the shoulder pad, okay? As we strike those places, we want to aim small so we can miss small, okay? On different offensive linemen, based on arm length, based on week-by-week progression, I'll tell them to stare at different things. Sometimes it might be the Nike logo, okay? Sometimes it might be the Adidas stripe on the shoulder pad. But as they stare at those different keys, they're looking to bring both of their hands from palms to pecs to be able to control that portion of the body. Instead of being able to attack an offensive lineman, straight up and just grab both of their shoulder pads and allow them to be able to get inside of my chest. I want to be able to work a half a man, or if I'm in a reacting attack, I want to be able to go ahead and I want to be able to hit the dense part, caved in middle part of their chest, to be able to bite that, to be able to gain control, and then be able to work off of that. Part of the sharpening process is allowing them to work off a sled, allowing them to be able to do different sled progressions, allowing to show them in a worst case scenario where they could be and what things need to be able to look like as they use hand violence, okay? So those are the two different things. It's the hardening process and the sharpening process when we talk about using violent hands, okay? Right here in this drill, I've got number 91 in the worst case scenario that he could ever be in. This is saying that he put 2 feet in the ground and maybe he didn't get his strike, boom, out and extended, and now his face is in it, okay? But what we need to be able to do is we need to be able to rewash, okay? And teaching younger guys how to rewash is an extremely important trait. A rewash is being able to replace your hands in the correct place, all right, with a violent extension, okay, to help them be able to work through their progression all over again and be able to eliminate wasting time. Because in the run game, as we know, time is an extreme enemy of ours, okay? So right here, number 91 has his hands placed on the bags. He has palms up right now. Boom. He goes to pecs. He's seeing down, around, and through his gap, all right, in a react and attack way right now because he's peeking through his primary and he's going to a secondary, all right? And then, boom, he's able to disengage, bring his hips through, and finish with a tackle. Something that I love to be able to do with my guys is, as I teach violent hands and as I go through a block progression, okay, block destruction progression, I always want to add a tackling element to it. Adding a tackling element to it for defensive linemen is priceless. It teaches them how to be able to disengage off a block, run their feet, and then be able to attack the ball carrier, okay, without lacking any movement or lacking any ability to be able to see where the ball is, okay? So it's a heck of a job by 91, being able to work through this, roll his hips, but it's awesome that his hands can be violent. He can have extension in his elbows, which is extremely important with the separation, which we'll get into later. He keeps active feet right here, all right? And then as he disengages, takes a step for clarity, okay? He rolls his hips up and through. This shows up in games, okay? And it's not always perfect. I've got some details that I would love for him to be a little bit better at. I've got some things that I would love for him to be able to clean up, okay? But through the hardening process, through the sharpening process, we can see violent hands and controlling of an offensive lineman show up in the game, okay? We get off the ball. We get 2 feet in the ground, all right? You can see him start to peek through this initial gap. Happens a little bit faster with the ball being dictated. Right now, we're dictating daylight right here. We're seeing down, around, and through our gap, okay? We're being able to go ahead and squeeze right here, all right? We're splitting the double team right here with the nose, but we're seeing down, around, and through this primary gap. And as soon as he has control over the offensive lineman and he sees where the ball carrier is going, he's able to shed, boom, and be able to make the play based off of how violent his hands were and the extension that he created off of that. That right there is exactly how you use violent hands and build up a foundational knowledge for guys to understand what craftsmanship that they really are able to have with the hands that they have and the confidence that they should have as defensive linemen using their violent hands.